It is now 7 p.m. We'll open our regular November 15th Town Council meeting. Joe, could you say the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll move on to presentations and recognitions. We have a presentation for Veterans Day. Keith, if you could read that for us, please. I don't think so. I think you got to bring your tablet, or you can read it from here.
You could read it right.
You can read it right from here.
Whereas the citizens of our country are justly proud of the men and women who have fought to defend the principles of liberty and freedom on which our nation was founded, and whereas from the Revolutionary era militias through today's sophisticated defense structure, American service members have defended our country in times of challenge, brought honor to the United States, and created a solid foundation for our continued security, growth, and prosperity. And whereas despite the tremendous perils and pressures of wartime, our armed forces have defended the country with conviction and courage. In admiration of the strength of our convictions, other nations have looked to America for leadership, and our allies have always been secure in the knowledge that our proud country will not allow its principles and belief to be compromised. And whereas the citizens of the United States will forever owe an immense debt of gratitude to our veterans for the sacrifices they have made to secure the safety of our country. And whereas, as an expression of that gratitude, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed into law an act calling for the observance of Veterans Day on November 11th of each year. And in 1921, that date was originally designated as Armistice Day in remembrance of the end of World War I, and as a perpetual reminder of the blessings of peace. And by 1954, the observance widened to honor the courageous veterans of all foreign conflicts. And whereas our veterans reflect the preeminent qualities of patriotism and courage in all of us and continue to make countless contributions to military and civilian life. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Farmington Town Council hereby thanks the many contributions and accomplishments of all of our veterans, dated at Farmington, Connecticut, this the 15th day of November, 2022. C.J. Chalmers, Chair.
Thank you. I wasn't going to let you stop without saying that.
I wanted to make sure.
Appreciate that. We will now, item D, public hearing. I believe we have none tonight. Item E, new items, also none. We will move to item F, public comment. We will begin with those here in attendance, and we'll move to those online. For any of the public who may be interested in making a comment, please step to the podium, state your name and address, and Tim, you're on.
Way ahead, okay. Tim Kelly, 62 Westview. How are you tonight? I think sometime this evening you'll be asked to rubber stamp the new 3-year teacher's wage contract. For the benefit of the public, I think it would be helpful to see a couple data points related to what we're signing up for. So as an example, I'll just offer 3, and you may have them in your package, or maybe something Kat can put up on the screen. We do have some of the folks from the school district here, so we're well armed. So I would look at, so a young teacher, say 5 years in with masters, under the first year of the new contract, what are we looking at there for compensation? And then say a mid-career 15-year employee, team leader, maybe 3rd grade team leader in your local grammar school, and then a veteran teacher, 25 years, and a department head, say at the high school. Just so that we can have some benchmarks here to take a look at. As we all know, compensation is over 80% of the school budget, and obviously school budget is 2/3 of the town budget. So with the average increase looking like 5.5% to 6% a year, I think it would be insightful to hear from the council this evening what strategies or levers will be used to bring the new town budget in under the 3% increase policy cap. This is obviously an important commitment, given the escalating cost of the new high school and the debt service that we'll be taking on with that. I'm also looking ahead a little bit in terms of, we now have every economic leader in the country going to tremendous measures to try and basically inflict a recession and lower inflation. So 2 years ago, inflation was under 2%. And I'm just wondering if 2 years from now, if it's, say, 3%, how we're going to feel if we're strapped into a contract that sounds more like 6%. So I hope to hear more on this topic later in the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will be discussing it later, and I assure you, we won't be rubber stamping anything. That's not a practice this council has ever had. Any other comments from the public here in person? If not, is there any public online?
I do not see any hands raised. Oh,
There you go. I saw one out there.
we have Jay Tulin.
Jay, welcome back.
Hello, everyone. Jay Tulin, Farmington Human Relations Commission Chair, 39 Timberline Drive. I just want to speak very briefly about upcoming discussion having to do with the referendum. Just as a reminder for those of you that may not have been on the council at the very beginning, the Human Relations Commission has been an avid supporter of the FHS building project, and in particular, the commitment made to the concept of universal design. It's our belief that continued support for universal design and the hopefully upcoming budget referendum and support for the budget referendum will go a long way to the new project, the 1928 building, and in the hopes that the concept of universal design will continue to be an integral part and a commitment as that project moves forward. So what I'm saying is the Human Relations Commission supports the referendum based on the impact or the potential impact it'll have on the concept of universal design. Secondly, and this will be very brief, way overdue, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge and thank the town council for the action they took back in the July meeting by adopting and supporting the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance working definition of anti-Semitism. It's very important to note that the Farmington Town Council was and is one of the front runners in acknowledging and adopting a very important concept. And I just wanted to take a moment to again acknowledge and thank you. I should have done that earlier in the year. I did not, but it seemed like a good opportunity for me to just make mention of that again. And again, thank the town council for taking that very important step. Appreciate, as always, appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay, and it is never too late to say thank you, so we appreciate that. Any other public comment? Okay, seeing none. Go on to item G, reading of the minutes. Joseph.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to accept the October 11th, 2022 regular town council meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the reading of the minutes of October 25th, 2022 regular town council meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Okay, moving on to item H, reading of communications and written appeals. Any?
No?
No communications or written appeals. We will now go on to the report of the committees, item I-1, 1928.
Yes, we met earlier this evening, and our process is going forward as looking at the 1928 building to become the new town hall. Architects are working with staff in order to finalize drawings and implementations of where staff will need to be and to make it a better flow. And I think we have our next meeting next month in December.
Okay, thank you. Farmington High School Building Committee.
We'll get into this a little bit more on our agenda down. We turned our regular building committee meeting last week on Wednesday into a public meeting. which was attended in person lightly, but more online, where we tried to explain the complexity that you guys have heard, the last meeting we had, and what's higher, what's lower, and what's real. There is a town letter that went out. I got it that following day, which if you didn't receive it, get a copy. It's very explanatory, and it does a great job to outline exactly what it is that the building committee's been working on and why we're asking for that additional funds.
Great. And if anyone didn't receive it, you can call the town hall. We'll have copies here at town hall. And it is also online. You can go to our website. Thank you. Green Efforts Committee.
Oh, that's me.
Yes, it is.
Nothing to report. Our next meeting is Tuesday, December 6th at 7 o'clock.
Okay. Land acquisition.
Nothing new to report today. We do have executive session tonight, I believe.
Okay, Racial Equality Task Force.
Yes, the task force held their last meeting tonight. The focus of the task force in recent months has been their community conversations. The community conversation tonight is Tell Me the Truth, exploring the heart of cross-racial conversations. And we'll be having our next meetings in 2023. So the agenda will be coming out soon.
Great. All right, item J, reports of council chair and liaison, starting with the council chair. We read our proclamation this evening on the Veterans Day, for Veterans Day. We had a very nice ceremony here at the town hall on Friday, well attended. The high school choir was here, sang some songs. Some of the veterans spoke. A few other people spoke as well. I will make note, the veterans organizations in town are always looking for new members. And it was brought to my attention by one of the veterans there. There are some veterans who don't feel they are eligible to join because they haven't served overseas. And they said, no, any veteran, regardless of where they served, anyone who's worn the uniform is eligible. So please reach out, particularly the younger veterans. Far fewer of them have gotten involved than the elder veterans. So they're looking forward to having more people joining their group. You could either reach out through the town manager's office or Paul Kraus. I believe his phone number is under the veterans group on our listing of organizations. I think that's the Veterans Memorial Committee. With Thanksgiving coming up, don't forget our local farms as you're trying to stock your table for your feast. They have lots of food available for you. I think some of them have decorations as well, so keep that in mind. The holiday kissing balls are also being installed, I believe, this next week. So reach out. They're always looking for donations to help support the cause and to help defray the cost of the kissing balls. A few dates to keep in mind. Saturday, November 19th, Stanley Whitman House. You can learn how to cook a colonial dinner. So if you want to up it a little bit for Thanksgiving, go figure out how to cook colonial. You can cook out on the fire outside. You'll entertain everyone. If not making an edible meal, you'll at least have fun watching it. The Congregational Church is holding their holiday bazaar on the 19th as well. And as will be mentioned later, we'd love to have you join us for a coffee with the council that morning. We'll give you details a little later in this meeting. November 26th is Small Business Saturday, so get out there and support all your small businesses in town. We have lots of them. They're always looking for local support. November 30th, Feed the Sheep Pumpkins at the Hillstead. Sounds like it's going to be entertaining. Bring your pumpkin or take one there. They're using a catapult, evidently, to throw the pumpkins, ideally not at the sheep, but in the general area. Sheep love to eat pumpkins, I hear. December 3rd, they've got the Holiday Boutique at the Hillstead, and the Union Museum is holding their holiday kickoff. Got a very busy holiday here. So if you want to see anything that I've missed out on so far, you can go to explorefarmington.com, get that and many more exciting items, and you can sign up to get their emails. With that, Conservation Inland Wetlands, I believe we have no report this week, and Board of Education also no report. Bicycle Trails Advisory Committee, just actively working to get up some different signage around town, looking at different opportunities for access to and from our trails and throughout for safe routes. Economic Development Commission.
Yes, the Economic Development Director held a tour at the Yukon Technology Incubator Program in Farmington on October 19th. The Yukon TIP Innovation Program focuses on connecting Yukon students with startups from the university to help develop their schools. There are more than 45 Yukon TIP startup companies in the program. That also includes all 3 campuses, Farmington, Storrs, and Stanford. These companies are developing and commercializing new technologies in areas like diagnostics, digital health, medical devices, software, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, and more. The next EDC meeting is scheduled for December 14th.
Great, thanks, Ed. Farmington Historic District Commission.
Thank you. This evening, we had a meeting, and a front door was approved for the Hartford Baking Company in the village, so that should be coming in a few months. In addition to that, the one other thing is our next Historic District Commission meeting will be on December 20th at 5 o'clock.
Anything about change of leadership tonight?
Well, they said that they did have a change of leadership in that they did nominate
Jim Calciano?
Jim Calciano, yes, for 1 month, and then they're going to have elections again next month for the next year, but for this 1 month of December, Jim will be the new chair.
Great. Housing Authority.
Nothing to report, other than the next meeting is tomorrow at 6:30.
Great. Okay. Human Relations Commission?
Just to be clear, there was a Board of Ed meeting last night,
yes.
and I will be making a full report at our next town council meeting. But getting back to the Human Relations Committee, they met, or their next meeting is November 30th, and they recognized Zalman for his contribution to the town and to the Human Resources Commission. Committee, I will say commission. They welcomed Lakeisha Brown and continue plans for Human Rights Day on December 10th, and will be deciding who they will recognize as the 3rd recipient.
Great, thank you. Library Board.
Library Board meets tomorrow night, November 16th. The biggest item of business for them is they start the search for a new executive director of the libraries.
Great, thank you. TPZ.
TBZ met October 24th and November 7th. A couple of things with larger developments. I know that's been a discussion in town. There was an amendment to zoning regulations to move an area of South Road into what is called the South Road Opportunity Zone. This is an area right now located at 62 South Road, and the plan is for a large development to go in there. There's more information in the meetings from Town Planning and Zoning online. And then there's also a public hearing at the next meeting, which is December 12th, about the old Ryan Pharmacy in Unionville, 30 Mill Street, for potentially a 24-unit residential building to go in. So it'll be next meeting.
Thank you. Unionville Historic District Commission.
Nothing to report.
UVIA.
Nothing new to report.
Okay. WPCA.
Nothing new to report.
Any other liaison reports that anyone would like to add? It's okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to item K, report of the town manager.
As we talked about earlier, this Saturday is going to be Coffee with the Town Council. I left a flyer at your places, and it will be at the Unionville Family Restaurant from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. And if the town council could just send an email or let me know after the meeting who will be in attendance for it.
Great,
And that's it.
thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the town manager's report.
Second.
A motion is second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Moving on to item L, appointments.
Yes. I'd like to make a motion, agenda item L2, that Clifton Mix be appointed to the Farmington Historic District Commission for the balance of a 5-year term beginning immediately and ending September 30th, 2023. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not even right. Not ending 2023, it's 5 years after that, so 2028.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Any other appointments? Seeing none. Moving on to old business. I believe there is none. Item N, new business.
Yes, I make a motion to to approve the purchase of 1535 Farmington Avenue and 1541 Farmington Avenue for the total purchase price of $780,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Kathy?
You had the public hearing on this at the last meeting, and just, this is for the purchase of 1535 Farmington Avenue and 1541 Farmington Avenue. If you can see, our procedure is that we set the public hearing on this on October 11th. We held the public hearing, we set the public hearing for October 11th in September. We held the public hearing in October. We made an 8-24 referral, and that was done in October. We received the report, which was positive, the TPZ did that, and now the last part is to vote on the acquisition of the property.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? Comments? Okay, these are the two properties across the street here. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Next.
Agenda item 3, make a motion to approve, that the attached resolution, item 1 and 2, be forwarded to the special town meeting to be held November 20th, 22, the recommendation that be approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Kathy?
This is the start of our process to, we're going to set the special town meeting and our referendum on our high school project to appropriate an additional $9,700,000 to increase the total appropriation to $145,300. So this is our resolutions, which are attached. So if you have any specific questions on that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
I have a question, please.
Yes.
Kathy, on the last page, the ballot label for the question, is that what it's going to look like? Do we get to edit that or anything? Or is that done by the attorneys? How does that work?
Joe, it was done by the attorneys. I think the council you can edit it.
I'm just curious, like what the protocol is when we have a ballot question for referendum. Do the attorneys weigh in on it and then they say, here's what we think, and then the town council?
The attorneys write the questions and based on the input that we provide to them.
Okay.
There are some specific things that have to be in there. For example, on this one here, it's an additional appropriation. And so you have to recognize that it's an additional appropriation, and then you have to recognize that it's going to increase the original appropriation. So that you can't change, but sometimes there's things like descriptions or things like that you can change. But legally, you need to, this motion needs to say that we're increasing the original appropriation.
Okay. See, I worry sometimes that people don't know, if you didn't grow up here, or if English is not your first language, or, if you're just not that versed in financial dealings, what appropriation means. So that's why I was curious.
Yeah, basically, the resolution, the question themselves, what you're doing is, by charter, any appropriation in excess of $400,000 has to go to a referendum.
Right.
That's why you have your budget. Anytime you approve money to spend, that's technically an appropriation. So your budget's an appropriation. Anytime you want to borrow money or finance a project, that's an appropriation. What this also does, in addition, and it's in the body of the resolution, it's not in the question, this also indicates how we're going to finance it, and that's by the authorization to issue debt to finance it. So really the key to the whole thing is to read the resolution itself. The first paragraph of the resolution is really the key to the understanding of the question.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And within this, I believe one of the things you cannot advocate, so we can't say things like it's anticipated net project cost of the town of $104,700 versus the original
Right.
appropriation. So we can't do those comparisons. Those are things, some of which the building committee can do in their outreach, and if there are any outside groups, they can do that as well.
Right, and that's why it's important to make sure that everybody in town understands what we're doing and
Absolutely.
how this is getting funded.
Very good point. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Next.
Agenda item N3, make a motion to approve the attached warning of a special town meeting on November 28th, 2022, and a referendum on December 8th, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Kathy?
You have the warning, and this is you're approving that. And again, it's about the town meeting on November 28th and the referendum on December 8th. And if this is approved, everyone needs to sign this document before you leave tonight.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Just a quick comment, just with the approval of this tonight, we go to what we call a blackout period, so the building committee can no longer advocate on behalf of this. That the only communications that can be done are what are considered factual. Our website's gonna be scrubbed, I guess, by the town attorneys to make sure that it is strictly the details that have to do with the referendum at hand. And communications from the town can also need to be 100% approved by the town attorney to make sure that we're not advocating, that we're only giving the facts behind what we're asking.
Good. Did you
And
have?
that would start immediately after, I believe, an affirmative vote on this motion.
Right. I think Johnny did say it. I just want to make sure, because you did say the building committee is also the town council.
Okay.
Also the town council. We're all in a blackout period.
Okay, thank you.
As a council.
And the Board of Education, everyone.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Next.
Agenda item N4, make a motion to approve, reject, take no action on the proposed contract between the Farmington Education Association, FEA, and the Board of Education.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
I don't know, we have the school people here. I'm not sure if Kathy or Scott are going to just give us a quick presentation.
Great.
Good evening. I want to start by thanking Joe Capitafaro for spending many days with the committee and being a supporter and a partner throughout the process. Actually, the last day of the contractual negotiations was my first official day as assistant superintendent. So I think I was the first central office employee to start on one day and carry my tenure into my second day without any break in between. And again, want to thank Joe for that. In addition, want to thank, our board members who served on the committee, as well as the FEA, for a productive and positive negotiation session. Overall, the salary increases for the 3-year contract fall in the mid 3% range throughout the duration of the contract, which is comparable and, quite honestly, if not better than many of the contracts that were negotiated, according to the data analysis of the attorneys who were supporting us throughout the process. FEA will also incrementally contribute more to their insurance premiums throughout the duration of the contract, mitigating health insurance cost expenditures. And additional changes in the contract related mostly to language and were mutually beneficial and overall neutral. We feel the contract continues to make Farmington an attractive place for teachers to work. We're continuing to try to be competitive with our surrounding towns and communities so that we can attract the best and brightest and also retain the best and brightest to offer a first-class education to our students and our families here in town, especially given the challenging time that we're seeing across the nation and the state with teacher retention and teacher hiring. And so, again, we want to thank the council and thank Joe for his support throughout the process. And we always take our fiscal responsibility seriously at the Board of Ed and look forward to continuing to do so moving forward.
Great. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks.
Any questions? Johnny?
Quick one. Just to follow up on Mr. Kelly's comments. I know that some of the kind of what we've been talking about over the last few budgets with this high school and everything was really trying to keep those increases to 3% or less. I know you mentioned at the beginning, but can you stand here and say that we're still working for that going forward, or will this make this harder or harder to achieve that 3%?
Every budget is a challenge, as you well know. I had a chance last night at the Board of Education meeting to present the budget manual to our board, and we're well aware of the commitment the town has already made to the continued progress at the school. However, we continue to target to bring in the lowest possible budget number while also getting everything we need for our students and our school community. I think we're all aware of the rising prices as well for many of the items that we need. But again, aware of where that is, and we'll continue to work towards that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And if I could just add in too, Scott, and thank you to yourself and to obviously central office, the Board of Ed, to the whole, unit that was there bargaining with the teachers. It was a lot of work, a lot of meetings, and obviously, going back and forth with the attorneys, and obviously, what we came up with this last piece that being presented today, we feel is the best overall for the town and for the school is a win-win.
Right. Question?
Just one quick question for you. Scott, thank you very much. And for everyone who worked on this, because it's really important, as you said, for us to be attractive for teachers to come here and retain teachers, which is really important. You did qualify the contract as better, and I just wanted to get a sense of better in what sense.
So we were looking at other contracts that were approved at the same time that had much higher increases. Again, our teachers have been sub 3% for many, many contracts in a row now as well. And again, in comparison to what was presented, our team and the FEA felt like it was a fair compromise to recognize and honor the teachers and compensate them appropriately. One thing we were also able to achieve was, for many contracts, the top step was the one that kept getting increased, and not seeing that in the other levels. And this contract allows teachers who are at the bottom or middle of the contract to also realize a salary increase as well, without pushing that top number for what the overall increase is out of what we think is affordable.
Thank you for clarifying.
So I think that's our benefit, is that we can attract teachers along the scale as opposed to, simply at the top end, which is really, really important when you're looking at recruitment and retention.
Right.
You're welcome.
Other questions or comments? And I'll just say thank you. Joe's been updating us throughout the process, so we've been aware of the different steps along the way. We appreciate that, and I appreciate the recognition. We're still obviously at the front end of a very large bonding issue that's coming through, and everyone in town understands we need to tighten our belts as best we can. Although I'm wearing suspenders tonight, so I don't have to tighten my belt. So we can keep that 3% is still our target. We don't want to be going over 3%. So thank you for that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Oh,
There's no more comment, then I'm going to amend.
go ahead, yes.
Anybody else have a comment or anything? We're good? All right, I'd like to make an amendment to approve on the proposed contract between the Farmington Education Association and the Board of Education.
Second.
We have a amendment to the motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Next.
Agenda item N5, to authorize the resolution which are required for the submission of grant applications to the state of Connecticut for the HVAC ventilation upgrade project at Note Wallace Elementary School.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
So the next few items, I think N5, N6, N7, and N8 are all the same resolutions, but different schools. And this is required by the state for the school system to apply for grants for the HVAC ventilation upgrade projects, and this is for the elementary schools. A couple of things just to note, so you have to approve this resolution. Just my understanding of it is that this is a really, really very competitive grant. It's a new grant, but the school thought it was very, very important to apply, even though the time frame to apply was almost impossible to meet. But they really went out of their way to get this, get the application in. But it is really, really very competitive, and it's an underfunded grant. But that said, they have done the paperwork, and they would like to apply for the grants, and this is part of the process to do that.
So what we're doing here is saying it's okay to receive money potentially.
Yes, allowing them to apply for the grant.
Yes, Rafina?
Yeah, this was the same, the HVAC system, the ones that were going to go on the roof, so we talked about maybe a couple of months ago? Is that where, this is the same grant, right?
That's the same thing.
Go ahead.
So yes, what's outlined here is the exact same projects that were brought forward in the capital project process last year. So they're mechanical ventilation at the elementary schools to bring fresh air, dehumidified, filtered fresh air into the classrooms.
So if we cross our fingers and our toes and we get approved for this grant, does that mean that all 4 schools will be getting the system at the same time? Because when we talked about it last time, if I remember correctly, it was supposed to have 2 schools going, and then we would get the other 2 schools.
Well, there's still the logistical issue of trying to accomplish 4 schools in 1 year. But with this grant, there is also a time horizon. All projects have to be finished by this December of '24,
Okay.
I believe. So it likely would still be 2 and 2, but it would be within that tight time frame.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? And I'd just like to say thank you on all these, to all the grant writers who do that diligent job to make sure we get in, even on short timelines, these opportunities to help our finances. And we do that in the school system, we do that in the town system. Anytime someone is offering money, we take those extra steps to try and help them give away money. So thank you. Have a motion and a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Next.
Agenda item N7, to authorize resolutions which are required for the submission of grant applications to the state of Connecticut for the HVAC ventilation upgrade project to West District Elementary School.
Second, but you skipped one.
No, that's
The first
East
was
Farms.
this
No,
was West District.
Should be no Wallace.
no, Wallace was the first one, so you're on East Farms now.
Aha. My apologies.
Good catch.
We'll take it for West District. Now.
The East Farm.
So East Farms.
East
Say East
Farms.
Farms.
East Farms.
Okay. Now you got a second on East Farms?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion, a second. Kathy says ditto.
Ditto.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Now N7?
Yes.
Now in
Okay.
seven.
Make a motion to authorize resolutions which are required for the submission of grant application to the state of Connecticut for the HVAC ventilation upgrade project to West District Elementary School.
Second.
We have a motion, a second.
Ditto.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N8, to authorize resolutions which are required for the submission of grant applications to the state of Connecticut for the HVAC ventilation upgrade project to Union Elementary School.
Second.
We have a motion, a second.
Ditto.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N9, to award the contract for the purchase of 10 portable radios and accessories to Motorola Solutions Incorporated of Woodcliff Lake, New Jersey, at the total contract price of $58,188.50.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Kathy?
So this purpose of this motion is to supply 10 portable radios and accessories to be used by the Farmington Police Department. The radios will be interoperable, which will allow the users to communicate with the police officers from other towns who use different frequencies. The purchase is part of a multi-year plan replacement schedule of all the portable radios in the police department, and this is, this money is in the capital budget.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N10, to award a contract for the installation of installation of card access security system at the town's 5 fire stations to Security 101, Advanced Security Integration LLC of Southern Connecticut at the cost of $83,895.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Kathy?
This motion is to contract out to install and supply card reader security access system on all our town fire facilities. Security 101 will provide all the equipment, installation, programming, testing, and staff training. This purchase is part of a multi-year plan to upgrade the security at all town buildings. Recently, Security 101 installed a similar system in the town hall building. And this money is in the capital budget.
Okay, motion, a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N11, I'd like to make a motion to award a contract for the purchase of one new 2022 Ford F-250 truck with service body and plow package to Gengris Ford LLC of Plainville, Connecticut at a purchase price of $57,580.80.
Second. And I hope it's ready tonight.
As the snow is falling. The snow is falling and the people are leaving. Yes, Kathy.
This motion is to contract with a vendor to purchase a 2022 regular cab truck with a service body and snow plow package. The vehicle will be used at the Water Pollution Control Authority staff for pump station maintenance and snow plowing operations. And there is sufficient funds in the WPCA rolling stock account.
Great. I have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N12, I'd like to make a motion to award a contract for the purchase of one new 2023 Ford F-450 truck with 3-yard dump body and snow package to Tasca Ford of Berlin at the purchase price of $88,380.40.
Second.
A motion and a second. Kathy?
This motion is to contract with a vendor to purchase a truck with a dump body and snow plow package. The vehicle will be used in the Highway and Grounds Division for road maintenance and snow plowing operations. And money is in the capital budget for this.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N13, I'd like to make a motion to award bid number 326 South Road and Colt Highway Roundabout Project to Marias Concrete Service, Inc. of Springfield, Mass. At the contract cost of $2,511,634, subject to Connecticut Department of Transportation, CROG, and CHRO review and approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Kathy?
The purpose of this motion is to award a contract to a qualified contractor to construct a roundabout at the intersection of South Road, Colt Highway, and 2 Mile Road. Bids were open on November 2nd, and the town received 4 bids. And this group submitted the lowest bid. They have previously performed work for the town installing sidewalks, and the staff is satisfied with their qualifications and found the low bidder to be satisfactory. This project, it should be noted, is 100% funded by grant funds, and this is something that Russ Arnold had applied for. So this is being funded by the Connecticut Department of Transportation and the Capital Region Council of Governments. So nice job, Russ, for
Thank you,
getting
Russ.
us $2,500,000.
Very nice. Again, accepting money. Question or comment? Yes.
Yes.
Rena?
Russ, how's it going?
Okay, any other questions or comments?
All right.
Did you?
No, I'm curious. So I live right on that intersection by the 4-way stop sign. So is this going to replace the 4-way stop sign? My neighbors are asking. So there won't be a 4-way stop sign. And that's why they're doing construction currently and widening? No.
That's the,
State.
that's the state with the ramp for 84.
Okay.
This is at the intersection of South Road, 2 Mile, and Route 6.
So instead of right now, because, nobody in Connecticut, or at least in this part of the world, no, in my neighborhood, knows how to stop at the 4-way. So all the 4-ways going around, and there'll be a roundabout that you can go around. Just a big traffic circle, but it has nothing to do with the construction currently that's, okay. Okay. So about that, I don't know if you know, but when will that construction be done? Because we were told originally it'd be like September, October-ish, and now we're in November, almost December-ish.
It's supposed to be done next September, like 23.
Oh, next September.
Yeah. They are probably 95% done.
Okay.
They're going to be done. We'll probably have some touch-up things to do in the spring, like seeding, planting grass and stuff, because it's beyond the growing period.
Okay, because it gets a little dicey right around rush hour, and people, so they put one lane to go straight and then one lane to go onto 84, but then there's no,
We are kind of straying from the topic
sorry,
at hand, which is,
just curious, but he knows the answer, so I'm just curious. So you can go on the record and state what's going on at that little piece of Farmington.
Good
Really
evening,
quick.
Russ Arnold for the record. So
What's
what,
your office number during the day?
860-490, oh, sorry, wrong number.
That's Johnny's number.
I wasn't going there. So what the state has done is we've gone through a lot of iterations for design for that intersection, including a traffic signal.
And Russ, just to be clear, we're talking about the other project.
We're talking about the
Okay.
on-ramp to 84.
Yeah.
Right? So before that was probably the third or fourth area in town had the highest accident rates, was that on-ramp. And there were a handful of fatalities, very disturbing. So they went through a lot of iterations of design, how to improve the access. basically what it is to keep traffic flowing along with our roundabout project. They eliminated the traffic signals just going to back things up worse and cause more delay. So they turned it into basically an open intersection. So if you were you're heading down, Route 6 and you're going to take a left-hand turn into Nardelli's or Dunkin' Donuts or whatever right there, you have to wait for traffic to clear. You just can't turn because you want to turn. So that's the type of intersection that they've created and are currently building. And it's constructed, they put it out temporarily during the phasing. We've had a couple calls saying, hey, this isn't going to work, but it's no different than any other intersection that you pass through without a traffic signal. If you're turning into a driveway, there's no traffic signal there. You have to wait for the intersection to clear before you turn. So that was the intent of the whole project, was process as many cars as you can during rush hour.
Okay.
Does that help?
It
Was
does.
that clear as mud?
Oh, totally. Thank you. Well, no, a lot of folks are asking questions. They're just curious, and they think
Yeah.
that any
It's a change.
construction, it's
It's a change from not having a stop sign.
Yep.
So before with a stop sign heading westbound, it would back cars up into the intersection that we're going to do the roundabout on. So by opening that and changing it, it's going to free flow a lot better. But there is a bypass lane, so if you are going straight, there'll be 2 lanes heading eastbound towards the mall. So the left lane will stop and back up in order to clear through the intersection.
Thank you for the explanation, for letting me go off agenda.
Any
Just
other
to
topics?
remind everyone, we are looking to award bid 326 South Road, Cold Highway, Russ's Roundabout Project, N13. Any other questions or comments on that particular item? Yes.
Yes, on that particular item, what's the projected timeline for completion on that?
Should be done this time next year.
This time next year. Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Agenda item N14, to approve the following property tax refunds.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on the list of tax refunds? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We will be adjourning to executive session momentarily. I will leave you with your comment for this evening from Irma Bombeck. The quote is, "Thanksgiving dinner takes 18 hours to prepare and 13 minutes to eat. Halftime is 13 minutes. This is not a coincidence."
Agenda
Moving
item O1, make a motion for executive session, discuss matters concerning collective bargaining, to adjourn the meeting to executive session as permitted by Connecticut General Statutes 1-225 subsection A for the following purposes as allowed by section 1-200 subsection 6.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Kathy, anything you want to say about this?
Nope.
Self-explanatory. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned to executive session at 7:47.